What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, everyone. We're back at it. It's been a little hiatus that we took. We've been all recording from the ministry. But yeah, how you guys doing, yo?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Good.
Making some mate.
All right.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to prepare it?
Not long. I just what I do is I steal two of these little water bottles from our office administrator.
Yeah.
And then I put it to heat here in one of those electric kettles.
Yeah.
And then I have this little thermos here.
Ooh.
It looks so small.
You're at the office, that's why.
And yeah, so I leave this one at the office, and I have the other one I use at home. And yeah, because I've been here a lot more recently.
Right.
I had to carry your thermos and mate stuff everywhere.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I can't even remember to bring a water bottle to work. Whole setup, bro.
So I'd forget my wallet if it wasn't on my phone.
He's like, I forget my wallet. Here, Brian has his mate. He's got his gourd.
He's got his whole setup, bro.
Straw, an extra water bottle, hot water.
I gotta leave water bottles at every location. One in my car, one at the office, one at home. And if it leaves from there, it's never coming back. So
you gotta buy those. Are like, oh, it remains cold for like 48 hours or something.
Yeah.
By the time you come back to it.
That's it.
I stopped investing in them because I always lose them. I stopped investing in water bottles because there's no point.
Buy those. Are like, oh,
yeah, that's funny.
I feel like that was me. That was my voice.
That was. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I was playing it. Wait, let me see if you can hear it.
There's no point.
You can hear that?
Yeah.
That's weird. So I'm running everything to my mixer, which is then. I don't know. I have to play with that. That's weird, but awesome. Well, I'm doing good over here. It was my birthday on Wednesday, I think.
Hey.
Oh, that's right.
So
18 years old.
18 years old. Big 18.
It's a lot of hair for 18-year-old.
Yeah, man. 18, man. So it was good, stayed at home. Stayed with the dogs because Chan was at work, and so kind of just chilled a bit and did some work and stuff. But yeah, other exciting news. We got my dog, my childhood dog from high school is actually going to be coming. So we're going to have 3 dogs for a little bit because she was kind of sick and she needs someone that's at home most of the time to be able to take her to the restroom. And I'm the only one that works from home in my family. So, everyone's like, yeah, we all got to go to work. So we can't take her out all the time. So
yeah.
Maybe
you're a pastor. You don't do anything.
You don't do anything. You work at home.
It's COVID.
You can do that. Shout out to my mom. So excited. We have Canela. I think
That's her name?
Canela, yeah. Because when we were growing up, we named all of our animals. I don't know how you guys named your animals, but we had to name them always based on their color of their skin.
Dang.
Color of the fur. So Canela is actually I don't know if I have pictures on, but yeah, she's cinnamon color. She's like a light brown.
I'm just happy that you've grown so much, Seba.
Yeah, I mean, our dog's name is Zoila and Zyla. It's not like Blackie and Gray.
Yeah.
Or Dottie. Yeah, we had Canela. My cat was gray, so his name was Silver. Silver. And then we had other types like that. So that's funny. But we got 3 dogs. So you get another cat soon?
Probably not, bro. I mean, honestly, I think about it. I thought about it. So at least he can play with somebody. But
right.
I think he's got that. We're talking about the alpha male.
Yeah. He's got that.
He's got kind of that alpha male thing going.
Yo, this is my place.
This is my house, my domain.
We don't do this.
Yeah, he would like the thought of it, I think, but I don't know if he wants to share his space. So we should have done it when he was younger.
Right.
But now, he's, I don't think he's down for it. And he also has super high anxiety, and he's like one cat. Like he had like a whole thing. He had to have something because he was like stressing. We moved and he was like stressing out.
How did you know
And,
you were stressing out though?
I mean, he was like he basically had like a urine infection, and it was
oh man.
yeah. I'm putting isn't this against medical? You know, you're saying he's sharing
Yeah, I guess
HIPAA, yeah,
do animals have HIPAA
HIPAA.
rules?
Yeah, but it actually worked out well because right when that was happening, like things started shutting down for COVID, so we were able to like monitor him and make sure he's been good. That's helped him, but he's chill now. We had to change it. Like now he has like an more expensive diet, so I'm like, gosh, I don't know if I even want another one, bro. Most cats aren't like that, but he's probably like a little high maintenance, man.
Right.
But I would like to get another one, but I don't know. That's twice the
Does he like going outside?
Is he like going outside?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have like a porch. We let him outside. I don't want him to like go outside because I just feel like
it's not fenced.
Yeah.
It's not fenced, and then like he's gonna. I just feel like that's more medical bills, bro. It's just like he's gonna get some worms or something, and I'm like, nah, man. So he goes on a porch and chills out there for hours, kills lizards. You know, I guess that's what cats do. That's the only thing though. Like part of me like likes the thought of having a dog because at least you can like go running with them and do some of that fun stuff. Right. But then also like I feel like dogs just require so much more time.
Yeah, get the right.
I don't have to give, you know.
Yeah, you gotta get the right dog. If not, they're like way too clingy for you and your lifestyle. But the thing is, like most energetic dogs that you could go out running with, most of them are hecka clingy. You know, they're like, oh, I need time with you. It's like, bro, we're not married, man.
All this little dude just wants is you feed him, let him go on a porch for a little bit. That's pretty much it, man. He's kind of like a dog in the sense like he'll do some like stuff. Like he's a little bit more. He hangs out with you more than most cats, but it's probably just because he's lonely.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, but
so we talking about animal tails, man.
Animal tails.
Yeah, she's always like that. She's the alpha, so she thinks she's the older sister, so she really gets on Zyla whenever when she gets in trouble. Yo, she'll like come. Rah, 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 rah. I told you not to do it. I'm like, yo, chill. I'm not
giving it to her, man. Yeah, in response to your first thing, how we named our pets, I didn't have pets, so
how'd you name?
I didn't name my pets, bro, because I didn't have to. I had imaginary pets.
You didn't have like no goldfish or ever fish?
Actually, I take that back. I lied. I had what do you call those fish? Beta fish. I had beta fish.
The different colors with the long tail.
Yeah, the different colors, man.
Like $2 at PetSmart, right?
They were a little bit more. They were like $6.50. I remember as a kid, it's $6.50. A high price, bro. $6.50.
Investment.
It's because we bought goldfish and they like died. We bought like 2 or 3 and they just like died the first day. I think it was like something with the water, the pH level or something. They took it back and they're like, you guys should just get beta fish.
He said, you got to put that filter in there so they can breathe.
But goldfish, I thought were super low maintenance, man. Like no lie, we left to India like on a family vacation, bro. We left my beta fish and he survived, bro. We came back after 3 weeks and he was there.
You didn't eat nothing.
I mean, I guess like sometimes you would. Before I left, I like put a lot of food in.
Yeah, so and
it probably all fell to the bottom. He probably was just eating them out of the rocks.
He's like,
he was hibernating, man. For
I see that nobody else here. I'm gonna have to make this last for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he just survived, man.
Maybe he ate his own feces.
I mean, it's possible, bro.
He said, I can't wait to see. I gotta see Steven. I gotta make
your bowl looks really clean, buddy.
It's like, man, like,
he did not poop at all.
I mean, he lived for a while too, because the most beta fish don't live super long,
right?
But he lived for a while. That one did, at least.
Did you do the whole thing about like, oh, put a mirror in front of him and see how he attacks?
Yeah, they get mad or whatever. Yeah, or like on the
that's funny.
Fish food, it has like a fish on it, and you can just like, if you get it at the right angle, they just see like the cover of the fish, and they just get mad from that.
I never got why. I know this is totally off what we're doing today, but I guess we'll start with on 5 because we're about to be. Why do you need to put the oxygen thing? Isn't water composed of oxygen in some type?
I want to assume that it's kind of like when you serve yourself a cup of water and you leave it there overnight and you drink some it doesn't taste the same because the oxygen
It's like out or
thing isn't like
oxygen.
where it was.
Oxygen.
Oxygenation.
The everything has changed. I don't know.
I don't know.
This is why I was not a scientist, bro.
I know.
Clearly, this is not our. I mean, Google it, bro. I guess. Maybe that's
oxygen.
But I know depending on the fish, like where they're from, though, you have to put certain things in the water just to kind of make the water, more compatible for their living and breathing.
Right. I would imagine that they're a salt fish. You want to put
salt fish. You got table salt. No, don't do that.
Some coarse salt so it lasts longer.
Yeah. Or and then even like if you have like an aquarium, they have these whole like filter things, right? These whole filtration.
Right. That's
the huge tanks. I mean, people have like those little sharks too in their house. Little baby sharks. That
I had tetra fish, man, and these dudes were freshwater, but they were like they would kill all the other animals, and they got
you come back and all your fish are gone,
dude. So supposedly a fish breathe dissolved oxygen. Not oxygen is already combined in the H2O molecule, which is my question. Naturally, these dissolved oxygen levels tend to be higher near the surface, where interaction between air and water takes place. A fish that is not receiving enough oxygen will try to compensate by gravitating toward that area. Similarly, you may notice your fish lingering near the bubbles of your air stones or other bubble-producing decor. So
it's fascinating, bro.
More you know. And this is ties beautifully to Psalm 5 from this morning.
Oh, yeah.
In that we need God to survive.
We need God's air bubbles.
We need his air bubbles.
And clean water, man.
How many of you feel like you are a fish without air in Steven's tank?
Oh my God.
No, mine would be a fish without food for 3 weeks.
Food or nothing. But yeah, all right. We're jumping into Psalm 5 for a couple minutes here. Thanks for humoring our animal talks. Maybe we should just have every other Friday be like a
animal tales, as you say.
Friday. Because I feel like it's therapeutic. I just say random stuff that's in your mind. I'm like,
true. Very true.
I was about to say something politically charged, but I will refrain. Psalm 5 begins and says, "Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my lament. Hear my cry for help, my King and my God. For to you I pray. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my request before you and wait expectantly. For you are not a God who is pleased with wickedness. With you, evil people are not welcome. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. The bloodthirsty and deceitful you, Lord, detest. But I, by your great love, can come into your house. In reverence, I bow down towards your holy temple. Lead me, Lord, in your righteousness. Because of my enemies, make your way straight before me. Not a word from their mouth can be trusted. Their heart is filled with malice. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they tell lies. Declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their downfall. Banish them for their many sins. For they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you be glad. Let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name, may rejoice in you. Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield."
Yeah, man.
Psalm 5.
It would be cool if we had like some kind of context to the psalm, like we did in the
other one. Yeah.
The
only concept we have is that it's for the director of music for pipes. It's for pipes. So
mine says for flute accompaniment.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would.
I'm trying to picture that with the flute or with the pipes.
Music was much different back then. What? You imagine like Lizzo coming out, right, with the flute and David. Anyway, but I just like the fact that he is just talking about coming to God in the morning, you know. At least my experience is, and I know this is like really bad. Like if you go to a nutritionist, they'll tell you breakfast is the most important meal. But chances are, if I eat breakfast in the morning, I'm kind of like fading away throughout the day. Typically, if I have a lot to do, I just get on it in the morning, and I'm able to finish a lot more before I eat. And then when I eat, it kind of like, okay, now like my day kind of simmers down. And being able to have that morning time with God is so special, and I guess I don't know if we all come from this, but like I can speak to it being so special because I've both been in long moments of the year or of my life where I haven't had that morning devotional, and then other moments where I have had it, and I definitely saw a change, like in myself, and not only myself, but I felt like more energized. I felt ready to kind of I felt prepared, you know. Whereas typically, if I start off the day just like working and doing whatever, it comes to a point of the day that I'm just like, wait, you know, what am I doing? Like, I don't know. I feel like I have more purpose, and I think that also comes from like your understanding of God, because we wouldn't expect someone who isn't like Christian or a believer or godly person to kind of do that. But even with people that are successful, they'll tell you that they have something that they do as a routine, you know?
Yeah, in the morning.
And, whatever that may be, like they have a routine that they follow that kind of, you know, sets them on the, I guess, right path for that day. And I love that David mentions that, because so often that's missing for me, you know, where, you know, we're all pastors here and I'm a pastor, but yeah, man, I fall into the same, you know, daily routine that everyone else falls into. And so being able to actually take that time and study something, read something, be like, yo, God, I didn't understand any of that. What did that say to me? Is key. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the first part of yours said. I don't know what version you were reading from, Seb.
Ivy.
Because mine had for verse 1, give ear to my words, consider my groaning. And I like that word usage, and then how it goes into the morning. So whether you're groaning just from having to be awake, or just groaning from issues, right? Just things that you're feeling, you know, I think.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of, you know, the way my mind has worked or my personality has worked. Unfortunately, like a lot of times when I wake up in the morning, I'm kind of hit with tasks, right? I'm not hit, you know, like some people are really good with like being able to wake up and kind of gradually walk through their day. For me, it's like I can be doing something and then fall asleep and then wake up and start doing it immediately. Like there's no gradual like build into it, you know.
Boom, go to it.
Yeah. Like your body's like, oh, I need to recharge. Doom. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just wake right up.
Roomba vacuum, right? Let me go recharge. All right, I'm gonna keep doing my
get right back into it. And I think like you don't really notice the effect of that maybe till later in the day or maybe later in your week, right? When you begin to kind of see like, and to even like pause and to just have that moment. Because I think for me, the mornings have really helped, or you know, even if it's late morning, but ideally like morning, you know.
Like
I don't drink mate. I got like, you know, some tea, some chamomile tea. You know, that's kind of my thing. I was kind of off of it this week because I had to wake up in the morning to go super early, do something in the morning. But like, you know, that has like really got me in touch in terms of like, hey, where am I feeling? What am I feeling? Right? What are some of the emotions that I'm feeling? What is even like, what's my headspace at? And it's created like a more efficient work day, right? In terms of, you know, for me, you know, because I think a lot of times if I'm not doing that, if I'm rushing, and I'm just, you know, kind of get into this sort of robot, right? Recharge and just go right back into stuff. Like there reaches a certain point where maybe I'm more bitter, more frustrated. And so to kind of get those groanings out, to kind of get those things out early in the morning, to kind of know, hey, this is my headspace. This is where I'm at. And it kind of, like you were saying, Brian, earlier, it kind of sets the tone for the day, you know, in terms of how you maneuver.
Yeah.
And that's been good, you know, and to kind of be able to, like where it says in the morning, oh Lord, you will hear my voice. And that's been something that I guess has kind of been a theme for me. It's just kind of the voice of God, you know, and kind of how it exists. And I think too, we kind of view the morning as like, I need to sit down and, you know, it's something I've talked about, like in my family, like it was my extended family. The way we did devotions was like, I'm gonna sit down, and it was more quantity based, right? And I read 7 chapters from the Bible, right? That was like the thing, right? And that was like the measuring stick for how spiritually you were, you know. But understanding, like, hey, it may just be like a pass, like a verse, right? You know, and that's okay, you know, to kind of reflect on. Or maybe it's a walk that's you're just walking with God. Maybe it's something else, and kind of seeing like there's the voice of God.
That's good.
And I don't know if you guys have heard the song. There's a song called "Voice of God" by what's his name? Dante Bowe, Stephanie Gritz.
Oh yeah.
The first line for us.
Say it again.
Can you sing that first line for us?
I mean, I don't even remember, bro. It's not like, you know.
I don't remember how I go, but I know it's good. It's a good one.
Yeah, I'll give you the link.
I think
sounds good.
It's like 11 minutes because they feature. It's like Maverick City, and you know.
I thought it was interesting. It was a good song because he really. And I can read a couple of the lyrics here. He really,
it's beautiful, man. How he starts, bro.
Right, because he talks about like, I can hear it in the crackle of bonfire. I can hear it in the middle of the ocean water. I can hear it when the rain falls on my windowsill on a playground where children's laughter lives. So it was really interesting because he's just like talking about different situations where it's like kind of, you know, maybe attuned and listening to the word of God, and you can hear it in different things, you know.
He talks about like, what is he, like a drive-in movie, or like you know, like what do you say? Talking to his family.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, you know, it's I think it's, you know, the voice. Yeah. The voice of God is definitely something that I think is, and also knowing that God hears us is so key, you know. So
yeah, something that you said really resonated because you know, yours says
groaning,
right, and mine, and I think Seba's as well, says lament, right. And I love this, like, listen to my words, Lord, consider my lament, hear my cry for help, my King and my God, for you I pray, right. And I think that we tend to overlook the fact that people wake up in the mornings and they're not happy to be alive. You know, they're not happy with their lives. They're not happy with the decisions they've had to make. They're not happy in their circumstance. Wow. And to still consider this King, this God, to be your God is crazy. You know, it's I don't know. Listen to my lament. And it also comes to kind of show us that worship isn't just about celebrating God. You know, here I believe David is doing his morning worship and worship, not only personally, but as a community of believers in a church group setting, right? Should give way to these moments where we can actually lament and cry for help and be like, hey, listen, God, it's hard, you know, it's very difficult to celebrate you right now.
Yeah.
Because you know, I'm praying for help. I'm here and I'm worshiping you, but out of lament, out of these areas of my life that I feel like, yo, you have not come through for me, you know. Because if you had, I don't think I would feel this way. And so I like the fact that, you know, you brought that out, Stephen, and then reading the text again, and made me feel like, dang, you know, not everyone is like, oh yeah, glory to God Most High, and, you know,
excited to get up,
especially right now, man. Like, you know, if there's been one stretch of time where I think people have, you know, more so than any, you know,
it's like, oh,
I mean, you cried yourself to sleep, and then you wake up, you're like, damn, I had to feel this pain again.
Right. And nothing's changed.
And that's the day, is walking in that pain, you know.
Yeah, that's tough. And then sleep is like the only way to get out from that for that moment. And then,
unless you're dreaming about it, which is also the case.
It's the worst.
Yeah,
and it gets worse. And no, I think that's beautiful. There's something about the morning. I'm not a morning person. I think as I've grown, I've become more of a morning person.
I feel like that's a maturity thing.
Yeah, probably is.
You realize that. I mean, that's the same thing for me.
I'm like, wow. The earlier I wake up, the more I can get done. And then if I go to sleep early, I have more energy. So it's like,
that's the biggest thing, going to sleep early.
That's hard. But I like that there, you know, that there kind of seems to be a thing that we can pattern our lives after, right? In verse 3, in the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you, and I wait expectantly. There's something about, I think, I mean, obviously here it seems it's more like prayer and you know, but I think for me, like in my mornings, what I'll do first is I'll go for a walk with the dogs, kind of, you know, it's like a 15 to 20 minute walk around the neighborhood here. And then I come back and do some reading. And so it's just nice it feels like a reset every morning, right? Before I get to my phone. Sometimes it's hard, especially now during the election season. Like the first thing you're in bed, you're like, I'm gonna roll over, look at Twitter and see what happened, what's the results. Or, when Lakers, it's so easy to just stay in bed. And then I realized when I do that first and I don't spend time with God, whether that's like walking and trying to pray a bit or reading, then my whole day kind of is like, my mind is jumbled up. Like I'm already kind of stressed. I'm kind of thinking of different things. But I do see like the value of that. To me, it's like a reset. It's like a refocus for every morning. And after I come out of spending that time, which I know, we kind of probably sound like our parents did when they were trying to make us do it in the morning, right? Like it's when you come out of that secret place, you come out reaching, but there's something about it, right?
Yeah, no, Mom, what are you talking about? What secret place?
Where is this place?
You've been here the whole time. I've seen you. You haven't moved. But yeah, it's when you come out of that place, you really do feel refreshed and ready to take on the day. And I definitely feel it when I don't spend that time. Either I get angry more easily. I have less patience. I can think less clearly.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something beautiful about just spending time. And I think it's more than just saying, okay, God wants me to spend time with it. It's more of like, it's just healthy for you to take that break and do that reset.
Yeah. And I think that as far as like, you mentioned parents, man, I know we live busy schedules and it's easier to do these things typically in the evening. In the evening, you'll have your child read, I don't know, their lesson or whatever, or you'll have them pray right before they go to sleep. And what we don't realize is that what we're cultivating in our children and in our young people is this sense of like, okay, I make my request known to God at night before I go to sleep, and then magically while I'm sleeping, these things are going to be answered. Right. And David is coming at it as like, no, I make my request and everything known in the morning. So as I walk throughout the day, I can kind of give God this opportunity as I'm awake for him to answer or for me to be drawn to something. And we don't give that opportunity. We communicate with God at night, right before we go to bed.
You're falling asleep.
And we treat religion as like this magical thing that will all of a sudden happen. And when it happens according to what I prayed for, oh, God is good.
Right.
And no, it's not a fairy tale. It's not something. It's not Disney, right? But yeah, I like that you brought up that verse 3.
Yeah. Powerful voice, yeah. And then the whole waiting expect. I think that's beautiful too. I didn't think about that. You have the whole day to really wait expectantly for God to do something. Whereas
that's good. Yeah,
you pray at night, you fall asleep, you're half asleep already as you're praying. You wake up and it's like
fall asleep praying.
Like your lullaby at night. Like just
thank you for
which I guess is not necessarily bad, but yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same,
right.
Man.
And we're not saying like morning is the only time to connect with God. I think it's something we should be doing the whole day, right, as much as possible. But there's something about starting your day off, kind of like for some people, drinking a cup of coffee, mate, doing a little quick workout like that gets you going, right? It's the same thing here. I think spending that time with God in the morning.
Yeah,
we really do that. That's powerful. Yeah, I love that.
Oh, for sure.
End right there. Yeah, guys, go spend time with God in the morning. That's why we're doing Bible and Brekkie
at 10:50
in the morning-ish.
In the morning, but now we continue there. I think very interesting verses there, right? 4 and 5 and 6, where it really talks about what God dislikes. For you are not a God who's pleased with wickedness, right? He doesn't, and I think this answers kind of the question of why is there so much evil in this world, and does God genuinely enjoy the pain and suffering and loss and death that we're facing? And it's like, no, he's not pleased with wickedness when people do wicked. And with you, evil people are not even welcome, right? Like he just can't even, I don't know, stand him. They're not invited to the party. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence, which is just an affront to them because they think they can. You hate all who do wrong, and you destroy those who tell lies, especially in the time that we're living in the climate that we're living in. Those that tell lies, the bloodthirsty, deceitful, you, Lord, detest. So it's very clear that God is not on the side of those that are wicked, that are evil, that are arrogant, that do wrong, that tell lies, that are bloodthirsty and deceitful, right? That God really feels very strongly about that. And I think a lot of it just speaks to the idea that they cause pain on the innocent, and God is not about that, right? know if you guys have any thoughts there on these
No,
strong wording from David.
Keep reading.
Keep reading. All right, I'll read it. And then that says, verse 7, but I, by your great love, interesting. I think David making that distinction that he's not evil. Be interesting to see at what point in his timeline. But I think that's one thing about David that's really good, right? That he was able to come always clean and wasn't afraid to, whenever, instead of running away from God when he sinned, he would at different times, once like with Nathan, when he's faced with his sin, he would run to God and apologize. But yeah, he said, I can come by your great love, I can come into your house in reverence. I bow down and toward your holy temple. So there's this idea, right? That is in Jewish mindset, you can't really come into the house of God if you have been unclean, right? And he's like, I am clean. And then I love it a lot of times throughout Psalms, he'll say it's because of your, and he says it here, right? In 8, lead me, Lord, in your righteousness, because of my enemies, make your way straight before me. So it's the idea that it is God's righteousness and his love that allows him to come in. It's not doing or not doing.
And that's what I was like, you gotta keep reading, because verse 7 is key to everything we've read.
That's true.
He describes himself. There's nothing about that. David describes himself. The arrogant, that's him. Who does wrong, that's him. Who destroys, that's him. Who tells lies, that's him. Who's bloodthirsty, that's him. That's literally why God told him, bro, you cannot construct my temple. You shed too much blood. The deceitful, that's him. You detest all these kinds of people. And guess what? I just described myself. That's me, David saying.
Great point, bro. That's a great
point. And in verse 7, that's it, that he says, but I, by your great love, can come in. And so what David is saying is like, literally anyone who is in some way this way, in these descriptions. And a lot of times that's kind of what holds us back from wanting to be engaged in a deep relationship with God or in a relationship with Christians in general, is because I'm not there yet. No, I don't want to commit because look, I'm bloodthirsty. Look, I'm arrogant. Look, I'm deceitful. So let me just work on me first.
Yeah.
And David's like, yeah, I'm all those things. So what? When it comes down to it, by your great love,
that's good.
I can come before you.
That's hope filled. Yeah, that's very good. That's very hope filled. I didn't think about that. That he's literally describing his own self. That were it not, it's kind of that song. I think I don't know if it's an Adventist song, but were it not for grace, right? If that weren't for God's grace, the song says, I could tell you where I'd be, right? I'd be wandering down a pointless road to nowhere. And so David's like, yeah, if it weren't for your great love, I would be just like, detested, wouldn't be able to stand, not welcome. But because of your great love and mercies, I can come into your house and actually bow down towards your holy temple and worship you. So, that's good.
He talks about this idea of like the house, right? And that's something that was standing out to me, right? This idea of the house and or the temple. And I think, Brian, you had just alluded to it when you said sort of if you're unclean, you really couldn't come into the temple or come into the house. Like there was this sort of idea. And I think that idea still exists now when it comes to church, right? Oh, if I'm this way, I can't come into the church.
Right.
And unfortunately, churches have done a good job of somehow portraying that to people. But I think David is really saying, he's describing himself as you're saying, and then he's also saying, but I can enter into your house and also still know that in your house I'm safe. Right. That the house of the Lord is not necessarily it could be the physical house of the Lord. Right. But it's also this mindset, this sort of safe place that he enters into with God that maybe he enters into in the morning. Maybe he enters into at these different times. It's this sort of.
Right.
He's basically, I can come to your presence without worry. Yeah. I love that.
I can live in there. I can live in that space and build residence in there because I'm safe there. And, I'm able to, and find that safety. And I think that's, that's big.
I guess part of the great thing about worship spaces and coming into a church building, right, full of people that are messed up as heck, but they act all holy, is the fact that we're all here because of God's love. So how great is God's love if he was this guy? We have to point fingers, but at the same time, it really serves against this argument of saying, I don't like church or I don't do church, or Christian things because they're they're a bunch of posers or
hypocrites, or it's
listen, man. Yeah, we're all there, you know. We're all there.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
That's good. It's like saying I don't like going to the gym because there's unfit people there. It's like that's why they're at the gym, bro.
So how can you go to the gym? Like,
you start your own. Do a church, do a gym plant, and make it only for buff people.
The opposite of Planet Fitness, huh?
The opposite of
Planet Fitness.
Fitness
Fitness is kind of for everybody.
Yeah,
which is actually a good model, I think.
Yeah, it's cheap. You can become a member really easily. It's like a down payment is like 25 cents or something like that. Like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah, they charge you $10.25 to join.
25 down, 25 cents down.
Actually, really, I think technically I joined for like 75 cents because I think they was like 50 cents was like some processing fee, and 25 cents was the actual fee.
And
then they charged me the second month $10.
25 cents. Yeah. So thankfully, we can come to God and not have to pay any membership fee because He paid it all.
Yep.
With His blood.
Not even 25 cents.
Not even 25 cents, man. Not even. But yeah. I like that point. Are you jumping out to 11 where kind of going on this idea, right? Let all who take refuge in you be glad. We talk. I mean, this that comes up too in verse, I think chapter 2 was it that we talked about refuge, and at the end, blessed are all who take refuge in Him. It's not that it's absent from pain and sorrow and all that from life, as He's clearly saying here. He's being persecuted by His enemies, but you can be glad when you have refuge in God. You can, He says, let them ever sing for joy. Spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. And so there's that safety. There's that. And I think that kind of ties into being, spending that time in the morning with God, where you don't know what's going to hum up your, something's going to happen during your day, right? You're going to get some sort of bad news. You're going to get a flat tire. You're going to drop your coffee. You're going to, your dog's going to poop. Maybe you're going to lose your, crazy, different stuff that can happen that day. But when you put yourself in God's hands early in that morning, and you take refuge in Him, whatever comes your way, you can still rejoice and say, I'm in God's hands, and He's with me, and I can, overcome whatever obstacle comes my way throughout this day.
Yeah.
Rather than just reacting. And I think it'd be good at the end of the day to kind of recap and say, hey, God, you brought me through this. Wow. But if you're only spending time in post day, right? Not really, you're really fighting in your own armor. You're not really trusting God for His wisdom. You're not really seeking Him for His strength. And at the end, you're like, hey, someone cut me off and I jammed my car into his car. That's pretty extreme. But, we try to do and fight things and fix things and solve things when we're not connected to God in ways that, looking back, you're like, that was a really dumb decision. What are your dumb decisions, guys? What have you guys done that you're like?
I clicked on this link this morning. Okay, that someone sent me. I don't know. I'm just kidding. No. So
I did that too, and I got hacked on Instagram. So you gotta be careful out there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Dang. No, honestly, I don't know about the dumb thing I did recently, but I'm sure Nani can think of something. But here, verse 9 and 10 again. I feel like this is a typical relationship with God. Mm-hmm. Where you're actually talking to God about your problems, and all of a sudden you come to a realization in your mind about what it is that you're talking to God about. And so in the beginning, He's saying like, oh, all these people, they suck, they're bloodthirsty, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden He's like, oh, snap, that's kind of like me.
That's me.
Well, God, I thank you because of your great love. Like I can love, right? And so now in verse 9 and 10, He's doing the same thing. He's like, oh, my enemies, they're filled with malice and throw open to the grave, and tongues they tell lies and declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be a downfall, banish them, and there are many sins, and because they rebelled against you. And then verse 11, and He's like inclusive to like a fault. He's like they, but let all.
Right.
So they and myself, just in case I come to a point where I realize I'm just like them.
Right.
But let all who take refuge in you be glad. And it's just so typical when I'm reading this psalm, because that's exactly like kind of like what it is like for me. I don't know about you guys. And I start off my prayer. I'm like, God, man, I have this problem. Like, I don't know how to go about it. Like, this and that's happening. And as I'm thinking through it, I find the the carelessness of humanity in in the person I'm having a challenge with, or in the circumstance I'm having a challenge with. And I quickly realized, like, dang, okay, I could go about it differently, or no, God, like you still love this person, or you still love this project that we're undertaking, or God, you still called me to this particular place, whatever that may be. So I feel like David's writing his journal and he's realizing certain things as he's writing, and so he starts being inclusive and he starts talking about God's love, because he comes to a point where he's like, dang, that problem, it's
that's me.
Problem. Yeah. And then just to end it, surely, Lord, you bless the righteous, them with your favor as with a shield. He's again right here in verse 12. He's not being inclusive of himself.
Yeah.
He's saying what God does to the righteous. He himself comes to a point where he considers himself not to be righteous.
That's good.
And I think that's what your relationship with God does, is you start at a very high place, right? And I guess it's something, shout out to seminary, to Darius, right? You have a really high sense of anthropology, where you view yourself like very, very like good, very perfect, like good things can be born out of people. And as your relationship with God cements itself, and you spend this time with him, that becomes very low, and your Christology, or your I don't remember, whatever, some other ology, becomes very high, where you see like, no, I can't do anything, but Jesus does it for me.
Soteriology.
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
Biology.
I won't say anything just in case.
Ecology. Yeah. No, that's good. I think there is there's a necessary introspection that David is doing, right, where he's really like checking himself. I love that, right? He's writing, he's like, man, I hate these guys that lie and deceive and steal, and you're like, oh man, well, God, thank you for your mercy, because I just realized I do the same thing, and so that's beautiful, Brian. I love that. That's a great observation, and I love seeing this too, as we've been mentioning, right, as kind of David's journals, right, as he's processing as he's writing too, right, where it seems, as he's writing, he's thinking, and then he makes it inclusive. He's like, well, you know what? Everyone that calls on you, God, is going to be good. All who take refuge in you, even if they're evil or not, can receive that refuge and stuff. So yeah, I think it's important in that really, when the closer you get to God, I feel like the more you see you have to work on yourself, and then the more patience you have on others, because you realize, man, if God has a great way of kind of exposing, the insides of your hearts, that you're like, yo, you're still very proud. It's like, God, don't say that too loud, or you're too, you're still this way, that way, and so you really learn, I think, to be more patient with others, because you see how patient God is with you.
Oh yeah.
And that's beautiful. Beautiful there.
Yeah, that is.
David, so big takeaway from Psalm 5. Anybody? I know Brian was just mentioning probably his, but I don't know if you want to, anybody add it. I guess I'll go first. I've always go last, so I'll be first today. Finally fulfilled the prophecy. The first will be last. In the my takeaway for today is just at least for me, right, and just echoing my experience, is just the importance of spending time with God before you do anything else, right? And whatever that looks for you, right? Like Stephen was saying, maybe it's some of us, it's singing or walking, reading, going out and praying, doing something like that, getting a routine where the first thing you do, the first thing first, is I got to spend some time with God. And that resets my whole day. It focuses me. I try to pray for joy every morning. And so that whatever comes my way, as David is saying, right, I can still rejoice. I can still take it with because I feel like there's a difference between when you see a problem coming your way, when you're upset and frustrated, you don't see a lot of ways out. But when you have some joy of like, all right, God, I don't know how you're going to do this, but it you get more excited to, kind of take on that problem and issue. So yeah, that's my way to take away. The morning, a great time to just connect with God, refocus, and get ready for the day.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's just this. I guess the language that has really been standing out to me. It's one thing I love about the Psalms is I was mentioning earlier. This language of the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Entering into the house of God, the temple. Then later on in verse 11, he says, "Let all who take refuge," right? This sort of safety that exists in the morning, right? That it's a sacred time where I can come to God and share that with Him and express what it is I'm dealing with, what it is I'm feeling that orients me. And then also to know that I can come back into that space, that God wants me to feel that throughout the day, to know that there is a space for me that, and then also, the reminder of the second part of that, at least the reminder is, sort of the language. I really do think how David talks is the way we think,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or at least in some cases talk, as well, like, hey, this person's doing this person's doing this. God, why is their life better than mine? Why, whatever. Like we go down that path, but then we realize, like, yo, the grace that's extended to me is also extended to them.
Right.
And so my view of them has to shift, right? I have to begin to be like, hey, even though they're doing all of this, God still extends grace. It's not just, it feels like it's just for me because God is intentional like that, but He's also offering it to everybody else, and I have to share it, and so those are mine. Just
good. That's good.
It was really good to see that, just that those reminders. I mean, even just today.
Yeah, and I love that, Stephen, because you have these key words that pop out throughout the psalm. You have you start off with like lament or what your version said, right? So you have lament, and then like refuge, and then the words begin to change. So lament, refuge, and then you have rejoice, right? And then you have like this sense of like God blessing the righteous. And I guess my takeaway is in verse 12, where it says, surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield. Maybe here, David doesn't consider himself righteous yet, but we see in other Psalms where he calls God his shield.
Yeah.
And so I think that we come to a point where we can consider ourselves righteous, not based on, hey, I'm not speaking any lies or doing any deceit, but on the fact that, man, God, I'm righteous because you consider me to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm far from that, you consider me righteous, and you're willing to kind of put it all on the line for me. So I think that that's really a hopeful way to end a psalm that started off with just like deep lament,
Yeah. And it's crazy that your lament can lead to that response from God, right? Because I think that's not a normal human response. Like if I'm complaining or I'm groaning, the response isn't typically for me to feel like, oh, let's bring this guy in.
Right.
But that's the response of God, and that's beautiful, to see that,
I love
that He listens to our lament and groaning or whatever word goes there.
The Message version here says, "Listen, God, please pay attention. Make sense of these ramblings, my groans and cries." Oh.
Nah, that's not as deep as.
They got groans in there, man. That's a deep.
No.
I mean, at least it's not talking about the saloon and all that. I just always think about that one time.
The evil, was it the evil saloon? That's funny. No, man. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the conversation, man. Thank you guys for great insight. It really inspires me to get up and be like, man, all right, I'm gonna spend some time with God, and in that time, ask God to help me really check myself before I wreck myself. But yeah, check myself to just really, hey, you're no different than that other guy next to you. That the person you're critiquing, as pastors, the person you're looking down that's causing all this trouble. Surely, that's still things you got to check. But
and that time is not like sermon prep. It's just time to be fed. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
really eat it. Really take it in.
Because I think we read the scripture maybe as a pastor, like we read it as, oh, this is for that person. Yeah, like you're saying, like,
oh, right.
That joint is for me.
Wait till I say this right here. Yeah.
Wait till I package this up, into a message. But
that's good. But sweet, yo. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Stephen, Brian. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys soon, definitely. And have a good Friday. Be blessed. Spend some time with Jesus, and keep growing, yo. Love y'all. Peace.